Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Tuttle, and I promise this is going to be a quick stream, but I'm going to look over the plugins or add-ons that I have and give my honest opinion. I know there's a lot of there's a lot of development, a lot of questions surrounding plugins, what to get. Oh, sorry, there we go. Left the stream on, but just what to get with is this good enough? What do I expect in iClone 8? I'm just going to give you my opinion, and I've had these plugins. I'll tell you if it's worth looking into, if it's not. But the most important thing when it comes to iClone plugins, the first rule, and I'm just going to explain it, is take your time and research before you buy and determine if it's right for your projects. It's easy to buy into hype very well, and we've gotten suckered into it. I know that their marketing tactics are, people have talked about it quite a bit, but take a step back and think, okay, do I need this or don't I need this? Like, what use can I use out of it? Does this interest my work? Doesn't it not? There are some things I'm going to go into that shouldn't have been a plugin. I'll kind of go into it much more later on, and there's some things that just you need to kind of take some time, maybe sleep on it, and sometimes it isn't. That's why I've kind of learned with a good example is DAS assets. There's people who collect a whole bunch of them. I did at one point, but I kind of took a step back and determined if I need it or not. And it happens with a lot of purchases, 3D content they have in Reallusion. I take a step back, think, okay, do I need this? What do I have a production? Will it pay for itself in the end? And yes, and that's kind of helps me, I know it's pretty tempting, but this is just kind of go in with this mindset. Do I need it or not? So I'm just going to go through the plugins that I own. I have the Unreal Lifelink. I have Curve Editor, Popcorn, Iray, 3D Exchange, and the Motion Live iPhone Face plugin. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll make sure I'll answer them to the best I can. Also in the comment section, feel free, So but the first one I'm going to go into is the Unreal Lifelink. It's used to make instant animations, transferring from the iClone to the Unreal Engine. You can transfer characters in pretty easily. It's useful for quick production previs. They've used it for a lot of its previs work. Very useful, very fast. You can animate very well. You can. It's just the workflow is pretty easy and it works well for previs. It does have latency issues, and it's not exactly for final productions or game design. Everyone thinks it's for game design. I just don't see it working very well. I prefer the traditional FBX import. I think the auto setup for Character Creator into Unreal is incredibly useful, and I use it. It saves a lot of time, especially with blueprint design and all that. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Unreal Live Link, you just sign up for it and it's free. I would say give it a try if you want to, but I just prefer the old traditional FBX import. I think the auto setup is definitely worth it. So, anyone has any questions on the Unreal Live Link or whatnot, I just don't. I keep hearing it's for game design. It's not. It's more of a previs thing. Anyway, I'm going to go to the next one. And this one I'm going to state right from the start. This should have not been a plugin. I think it's incredibly useful. I think it was well worth the money I spent, but this should not have been a plugin. This should have been included in iClone 7. I don't know why they did it. I'm not happy particularly about it, but it's included in 8. And for those who want to get the Curve Editor, I say wait. I would just go ahead and purchase 8 if you're planning to get the plugin, if you're able to. There's a lot could be a lot of better animation tools alongside the Curve Editor. If you're looking to expand and work on your animation, definitely invest time in the Curve Editor. Even when you get 8, heavily look into it because it's going to improve your iClone animations tremendously if you know ease in and ease out and how a curve editor works, and and effectors, which they'll introduce at 8. Really look into it. It'll improve your craft. And I've done a little bit on a stream last Saturday just to show you how powerful the curve editor is. Well worth it, but I would say wait, especially if you're planning to get iClone. Don't get it. Popcorn. Popcorn is a little tricky to say if it's worth it or not. It depends on your style of production. If you're looking for heavy use of visual effects like action, sci-fi, fantasy inside the iClone engine, heavily recommended. It's pretty customizable like most particle effects systems, Trapcode and Niagara. Trapcode particular is seen in After Effects, and it's a plugin by Maxon. It's very expensive, by the way. And Niagara is the Unreal particle system. There's multiple ones. Blender has one. Unity has one. There's a lack of tutorials. Not many YouTube channels cover Popcorn. And you don't see much of it Reallusion. Everyone thinks it's kind of left behind. But I would say it's more of a hands-on learning tool. I would definitely invest some time learning Popcorn and see how particle systems work. I might just kind of share this quickly if later on, show you if anyone has any questions concerning Popcorn. I think it's pretty useful, actually. I'm actually going to quickly render a little use I've had from it. I kind of experimented and played around with it here. Let me just open up Premiere, and I'm going to just kind of render a short video. I'm not going to have any sound or anything, just detailing what I use for Popcorn. However, if you have something like Trapcode, or if you work with particle systems outside in a compositor, I wouldn't really. It'd be too much, but there's some times where it could find a use. And that's what Popcorn is to me. I usually find a use for it once in a while, or like some of the more visual effects stuff I found a use for, but I use it for a lot of fire, snow, fog inside of iClone. It works. It's pretty useful, and I think I've gotten my money's worth out of it. If you're looking, I'm not sure what's going on with 8. I think there's going to be support for 8, obviously. Hopefully, that's what I think. I don't see why not. But if it is, I would, and you're looking for a lot of visual effects, yeah, I would strongly recommend it. But otherwise, to be honest with you, I would just, if you're comfortable with learning, if you're comfortable with other particle effect systems, or you want something a little more advanced, something like Trapcode particular, Niagara is incredibly complex. Trapcode is fairly easy compared to learn. I mean, yeah, Popcorn and Trapcode are a little bit easier to learn than Niagara because you have to learn the blueprint system, and it gets kind of tedious. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get this title sequence thing up and going from my work. Sorry. Let's see. I'm just going to mute. Sorry. Okay. So actually, I'm just going to share my screen here and kind of show you an effect for a visual like what I've done. If you're making any yeah. As for I won't do a tutorial curve editor just yet. I've done one on Saturday night. I'm trying to actually do a 1440 stream, and OBS is not working for me. I'm trying to find a fix for it, but here I'll just kind of quickly show you some with Trapcode. So this is what I'm doing right now. And that it's just for a title sequence. But it's kind of working. I made an outline, used all these little particles, add a little bit of glow. It works pretty well. That's a pretty good example. Just to show you, once in a while, Popcorn will come in handy. But if you're looking into stuff like that, or fire or explosions, anything action packed, I would definitely look into Popcorn. So let's go into the next slide, which be which would be Iray. This one is going to be my opinion is going to be not so positive. Rendering function that uses ray tracing, great for stills, especially if you're looking for book covers. I bought it for a production that we were planning to use Iray and Blender. Iray for the characters and animation, and iClone because it was a lot easier than put it into Blender, and then we would composite with Blender assets. We had a system lined up. Unfortunately, we ran into multiple issues, especially how it kind of coincides with one another. It just did not play nice. There's long rendering times. It's obviously a ray tracing engine. It's going to take some time, even if you have a NVIDIA card. Not very useful for video unless you have like a render farm or something. And the other thing is that there's a lot of real-time ray tracing rendering options like Omniverse and Unreal. And Unity is that. Blender's cycle engine has improved tremendously in version 3. So if you want to do like just a ray tracing, like your traditional ray tracing, like cycles, it's improved immensely with the speed. Honestly, this thing is really not useful. I think this is the major dud, I guess, and the one plugin that I would probably complain about. I don't like Iray. I would not recommend this one. If you're looking for much more nicer renders, go with Omniverse or Unreal. Cycles, if you want to. There's probably going to be support for iClone 8. Iray, skip it. I'm not worth it. I do not like Iray too much. I'm an Unreal person. 3D Exchange, easy. 3D Exchange used to bring in animations, props, and non-standard characters. And it's going to be, phased out. Sorry, how phased. I kind of typed it last minute. For iClone 8 and Character Creator 4. It's had its use. I had it since the very beginning. Since I worked with iClone 4, I couldn't afford like sets, so I would make my own stuff in Blender and bring it in. It definitely paid for itself and then some. Great for bringing in custom animations, like if you're working with Mixamo. Incredibly useful. I don't go into the program itself these days since the pipeline version you could just bring in an FBX. But to be honest with you, I think it's done pretty well. And not only that, but I think it's outlived its usefulness. I think phasing it out for iClone 8 and Character Creator 4, right thing to do. It's been long past its time. It's time to retire it. Do you recommend it? No, just wait. Just wait till iClone 8. This one is going to be this one is kind of a recommended one, and this one's a little tricky to explain. I had to go and do a little research, which we're going to talk about both Motion Live and the iPhone Face plugin. Motion Live is, how would I describe Motion Live? You're going to need, if you're planning to do Mocap in iClone, you're going to need Motion Live. So let's say if you're planning to get the iPhone, or if you get Rococo or you get Perception Neuron, it's a profile, and then you have to use it for Motion Live, which I'm just going to quickly go through and open up iClone here to show you like what Motion Live is. So I'm going to quickly open up Motion Live. Okay. And now I'm going to briefly here, just going to share my screen again. There we go. So it's a platform. So this works with hands, so like the smart gloves with Rococo, and the body is like if you're planning to work with Perception Neuron or Accent or Rococo. The face is, there's either a live, I've looked into this, there's either a webcam or it's the iPhone. And apparently the webcam is not as powerful as the iPhones. The iPhone uses something like a true depth camera. It's the same thing that unlocks the phone with your face. So anything with an iPhone X or above works pretty well. I own an iPhone 12 mini, and I'll actually bring in a character and show you. There is some kind of there is some there is some adjustments that need to be made, of course, and I like to edit everything in my timeline. However, I think this one is probably, it was a tool I didn't use at the beginning as much, but as time went on and I've been working, experimenting with it, and I found a system, this thing has become my most probably used tool besides the curve editor. The reason why is just it's a huge time saver. Facial animation is tough to do in iClone. I think it's pretty tedious at times, but it's incredibly important. And they've made strides, of course, with the facial puppet tool and a couple other, the face key, but you're not going to, I think the facial mocap system works pretty well, and capturing it definitely saves time. You definitely have to smooth out a couple of things, and I'm still trying to find out how to make a nice little setup. I was thinking with a helmet and a stick, but it's going to take a lot more than that. So I'm just going to bring in one of my characters here. Let's just bring in our character Discordia. Sorry. Avatars. Sorry, it was avatars. So how this works is you want to download an app called the Live Face. And there's an IP address to your phone that connects to the Live Face. I just want to explain how easy it is and how useful it is. I know this is set 1280p. I'll try to zoom in as much as I can. And I want to make sure that the face thing works. So I'd like to do face key, expression, and X plus. Okay, we're good. All right, we're going to motion live, and then I'm going to set up my IP. And I go to facial live here, and then I'm just going to activate a couple of things. Strength, just kind of adjust the jaw to 0 or so. Not as much. The reason why is I like to use Aculips, and I like to use Aculips in the motion capture system. So when a character's performing, I like to, like here, so I kind of adjust the jawline. So I'm going to adjust the jawline to make sure it works just like that. I think 1, 2, 3. See how the kind of eyes move up, down, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm just going to move here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. It works pretty well. And not only that, but I think it's also going to be heavily improved for 8. Just judging, seeing like the recent video. Really amazing stuff. And I don't really do it for lip syncing. Like I said, I use my Aculips and I kind of move the brow line. So I kind of do a lot of facial acting just to play around, experiment. Huge time saver. I think it was well worth the purchase. If you're looking into it and if you have an iPhone, I would kind of strongly recommend it. But like I said, the Motion Live system, it's a separate thing that's recommended that you probably will need. I would look into it further. Like I said, if you need it or not, but to me, it's a really good time saver and it makes good animation work. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. So I think that does it for my whole review thing. I'll kind of open up for some questions soon. So I'll just go through Unreal Live Link. I would try it out. It's definitely free to use, but to be honest, I prefer the FBX method. Curve editor, heavily useful, incredibly, just makes things a lot better. Eventually, I'm going to do a whole explanation of what works, why it does. I just need to take some time to briefly explain it. It's kind of difficult. I kind of didn't. I would definitely wait for 8 because there's going to be a lot more animation tools. If you're planning to get it, I would just get 8. Popcorn, if you're looking to do a lot of visual effects like sci-fi, explosions, heavy snow, rain, anything like that inside the engine, definitely look into. If you're not really planning to take it to a compositor, pretty customizable. It just takes some time to learn. Otherwise, it's not as bad. I think a lot of people don't find much use for it, but if you're looking for much more action, it works. It just depends on what you do. Iray, no. Simply no. I don't recommend it. I think there's a lot more options like Omniverse and Unreal. The Cycles engine is a lot better, and you can actually get a pretty decent look inside of iClone if you can work with your lighting. But no, with a lot more real-time ray tracing options, no, I think you should skip it. 3 Exchange, they're going to phase it out for iClone 8 and CC4, but it was pretty useful for what it was. And Motion Live, definitely a yes. Hopefully CC4 and iClone 8 are as good as the preview. Yeah, we'll see. I think I have good faith in it. I think the program it's going to be pretty powerful in the animation department. I don't really care about the visual side because I work in an outside rendering engine, but I'm pretty much happy with what they've done animation-wise. I think the motion director is going to be a really cool tool. And, I'm pretty impressed what they have with the more options for the face. It's going to be pretty powerful, I think. But I think that should do it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. And really, that's kind of all I have to say for my plugins. There's some tools I strongly recommend. But like I said, do your research. Don't just buy it for the sake of buying it. What's worth it for your production? I know it's easy to jump into the hype and all that, and the marketing tech. There's a lot of questions. Ask questions. Do some research. Just dive in and see what's good for you, like good for your productions. There's some stuff that like Iray that's not good. I don't like it, but they have some really powerful stuff like the face mocap thing is a huge time saver. I really like that. That's really all I got to say. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope this will be helpful. If it isn't, just let me know. I think the next live stream I want to actually cover Unreal side, what plugins to get for Unreal. There's a lot of useful stuff. There's a whole treasure trove of Unreal assets and blueprints and just so many useful stuff that really is going to get your attention. And there's a couple I was actually showing off last night. But I'm trying to get like high res streaming up. Hopefully up and working. We'll see. But thank you for everybody, and thank you everyone for your support as well. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.